once again, and this is Democracy in Action. You're on to Third Eye Africa TV, and my name is Ben Shaman. We are located at the Central Business District in Abuja. We want to look at politics in Nigeria, but like the famous Kenyan professor will say, Lumumba, that if Nigeria gets it right, Africa will get it right, economically, politically. Is it true? And no wonder Nigeria is called the giant of Africa. Now we have a situation where the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, talking of Joas Amopitan, he said that, look, election results must be won at the polling unit. During voting, they must be won. They are not not 3 or 7 judges determining to say this is the winner of the election after millions have voted. Outside that, the national chairman of the APC, talking of Namwatse Yilwada, he said that, look, Nigerians, learn to hold your governors accountable for the money given to them at the federal level. What is it they've used this money for? As opposed to constantly seeing the problem or letting Nigerians know the issue is more with the federal government and not even state. The same states that are also controlling the local government funds. What really is the issue?
Okay, I'm telling us to hold our governors accountable for the failure in the country is, yes, they are right if they make such statements. And on the other hand, they are wrong. Why? Before coming up with some policies, right, the president ought to have, at least in his capacity, put in some measures like the removal of the subsidy. Okay, were there measures put in place to manage the situation? Do you understand? And other policies that we cannot mention of. So we can't just hold the governors accountable because some policies that were made by him were not made by the governors. Regardless of the fact that, okay, huge amount of money goes to every state, right, for whatever reason, salary, name it, development, yes, appropriation funds that goes to them. Yes, in the other hand, why I said they are right and wrong is because, yes, some of the governors are really not delivering despite the huge amount of funds that are being given to them. So yes, it is okay that we hold them accountable if they are not making due with what has been given to them.
My view on this is, I don't know what he means by holding our governors responsible for what is happening in the country right now. But what I want to say is that if we are asked to hold our governors responsible on what is happening in our country now, sure. In the other way around, I would say they are right. In the other way around, I would say not really, it's not proper by me. Because this is what is it called? It is it's what is being written. I don't know if you get me. It's like a law that being drawn. Do you get? So now he's coming to tell us that we should hold them responsible. Had they worked on the law that is being drawn?
How do you mean by law?
For instance, you are out here answering questions about what he said, right? So for now, you're working. You have a rules guiding you, right? So now they have the governors as themselves, they have a rules guiding them, right? They are not just doing what they feel they should do. So I guess it's a rules that has been already written, that has been already working, that one cannot change until when they go back to the board to work on it.
My opinion is this. I believe the president is doing his best. Holding the governors accountable, yes, I believe in that, because I believe the president have done his part by giving them allocation and everything they need. So they are the ones we should hold accountable, because I believe they are the ones looping our money, they are the ones taking our money. Because if the president, because the president cannot work alone. He has people that he's working with. So ministers, governors, senators, and all that. So for him, giving out the allocation to them, and now they are not doing their job. So we should hold them accountable, not the president. I think we should hold the governors accountable.
Once again, my name is Benjamin, and our guest is Honorable Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed. He is a member of this ruling All Progressive Party Congress, and of course, he has an appointment. He's a member of this party. We want to thank you, Honorable, for coming to Tatai Africa TV.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. Just like we now have this, like you find the court or the judiciary saying political party matters are always those of the party. And you just find out that there is crisis. Look at Labour. When you're talking about 3 chairmen, talking of Papa, you're talking about Nenadi Usman, and the other man, Julius Aburi. How do you take care of all of these when you say no, the political party should simply take care of itself? So who should INEC reckon with in this kind of a thing? One is worried, honestly.
In the first place, these are among the many SIDs for INEC to handle, because the political parties are registered in INEC and they know the leadership that is more genuine and unique and genuine. And if they themselves in the registration process and the transition of even changes, because there's no convention or congress that happens without the representations of INEC. So if they have not take care of that, to have even the leadership of the political party they registered and what's the formation of the leadership from the National Executive Council of the political party, then there's a lot more for us to choose, because they are the one that know which one was registered. If there's a transition to change that, or there's a stand out order for against one, the INEC should also be part of the process. These are in the leadership of party, and that is why they remain independent. They are, regardless of if they are 1,000 political parties, they were political parties because INEC recognize them. INEC have their registration, have their constitutions, have them registered. Then all of this, when you start having flaunted fights that are not totally organic or they are not systematic, it comes in abusive space to the ruling party, which is not healthy. You can't have your problem and the next person you say is responsible is another person from another party. But in every honesty, with all that is happening in opposition, we are so very happy because it is in our own favor that they are not doing the well they need to do, and it is our advantage.
So APC should, Nigeria should have a one-party thing?
No, it is not. We will never be interested in one party. But I've said this before now. Opposition is built over time. Opposition does not come as giants that want to win an election. And I cite an example that is very, very straightforward. The man Buhari stood as an opposition and built the opposition around him from 2003 to 2015, 12 years before he became the president. And after he became, no opposition had ever formed for 2 years in Nigeria. No. When I said no, no. The only time they stood in as opposition was 2019, and in the 2019, what they said they did to themselves was to have Obi, Atiku, and Kwankwaso. In 2023, these are independent candidates. Everybody was a man of his own as a presidential campaign candidate. How do you blame opposition? Non-opposition formed at 2019. From 2019 to 2023, nobody stood in to form a formidable force. And if you're forming a political party that you want to have an opposition, you have 36 states to contend with, including FCT, like you have 7 structures, you have 774 local governments to cut across, and the 120 something pooling unit that I said we have to cut across. You don't have that opposition till a year or 2 years less than to an election. You are yet not building an opposition, and you blame a system that has been in opposition for 12, 13 years, and now it's already here as a product of combine a congress of all the alliance of people from different political parties to form a structure. They have tested and know what opposition looks like. The only governor they produced in 2011 was CPC in Arimakura in Nasarawa State, and still they sustain. But what is happening that is different, that is of important to know, is that the structure and the way the government of the day is going. It's very alarming for other people to think why, but for us in the party that are advocates of the president, we want to question. It's not about you leaving your party to become to the APC as a result of avoiding unforeseen circumstances that we know that you are having full time or more of your usual allocation. What are you doing to your state? Not coming or jumping ship in order to align yourself with the political party of the central system in order to feel like you are secured. We are getting to that level where we will ask questions and we would need answers because yes, we're celebrating they are coming to our party, but they should know that they are accountable to whatever that Mr. President has taken out of the soil of the fuel subsidy and send it to the state for growth in the state. What is happening and what is expected is what we are more concerned as people who are very conscious of analysis in the whole of Nigerian growth and what we're expecting.
Okay, we'll come to that. We want to know what governors are doing with subsidy money, for example. But not without this question before we go on break. We're talking of the same INEC, judiciary, when you begin to have different congresses. One single party has probably 3 different congresses. They've produced 2 or different candidates. Which one should INEC be handling,
Like I said, those congresses are subject to INEC formalization. Parties don't do, like when they said December is for congresses in APC and PDP. Assumably, INEC should be under the watch of every of those actions. And they should unanimously agree that there is only one Congress that can have the representations of INEC to document, to take record, and to take back in correspondence to INEC that, okay, a Congress has been conducted at so venue A for PDP, for APC, for ABGA, and these are the results and these are the leadership summits of those people that have conducted. And INEC will take that and endorse them and pronounce them. They are not issue where you have parallel Congress and at the first place, you as an INEC leadership, this is the first task you have. For every Congress to be conducted, you must make sure that they are not parallel Congress. In the case where they are parallel Congress without the representation of INEC, it's null and void. So it means there's no Congress. So
but it turned out in some cases that the Congress INEC did not witness or go there to see how it was conducted. The result gets honored.
It depends on what the sanity of the INEC itself is. And this is where it matters most. There is none of the Congress that it's not. Maybe a paid staff, I must use that language, a paid staff or a staff that are just in INEC that are not rightly allocated to do the same process actually go with their ID cards flaunts and they make elections look like they are INEC elections. And these are cases that are very common in Nigeria. It's so very...
So they are faking.
So they are, it's not about faking, it's about being present. They are INEC staff, but they are not supposed to do that they do. And that's why I said, of most important to the new chairman, as much as he's come as an innovative and someone who wants to be allowed. Trust me, INEC has been handled by the same professors, the same different intellectual capacity, everyone explicit with their discussions and all. But what matters most is when the chips are down, how many actually have the integrity to push through. And not forgetting, like I said, every state returning officers are professors. Does it mean that we have professors that actually cannot speak to the book, or there are people that we believe are the highest level of academicians and yet they came to compromise the process? It's like a sampling technique, or it's like any statistical data. And that is what happens. They are not to compute any mathematics. They are to just collect general processes from the pooling unit, attach, give what they are giving, not rewrite, submit the collation of the totality. The whole of the process is that technical.
And someone couldn't read what he wrote.
Yes, some couldn't read, no matter the level of the lightning, because they are not sure what the wrote is what he presenting.
Yeah. The program is Democracy in Action, and we are on to Third Eye Africa TV. We are at the Central Business District in Abuja, and Our guest is Honorable Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed. My name is Ben Sheman. We'll just go on a short break, sip some water, and come back. And when we do come back, we'll be looking at what the national chairman of the APC, Nantawe Yilwatra, is saying. Hold your governors in particular, accountable for actions and inactions, provisions of dividends of democracy or non-provision. So, look for where they have performed and where they have not performed. Nigerian citizens, this is what the national chairman is saying. We'll come to that. My name once again is Ben Chairman. Our guest is Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed. Honorable.
We're talking about South and the North. You talk about middle belt. Currently in Nigeria, we don't have middle belt. North Central is what we have.
Okay.
And they are included in the North. If the perception is because Nigeria is standing on a tripod, you have Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, they are the owners of Nigeria. That is a very wrong perception. These are major tribes in Nigeria. Simple.
Yeah.
Nigeria is owned by every single citizen of this country.
If you go to civilized nations, they possibly have, stratified their political parties such that those who play at the national level are there. And at the local level, you have other minor political parties playing there. And it gives sense of belonging to every citizen to be able to contest.
And in fact, once you have joined APC, all your sins are forgiven.
It's okay. It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay.
This is Third Eye Africa TV, exposing crime, savaging the nation.
Yeah, welcome back. And from this our short break, now the chairman of the ruling All Progressives Party is challenging Nigerian citizens, irrespective of the political party, in as much as that state has a governor. He said government is always giving no funds ever withheld. Therefore, the governor should perform as opposed to constantly sending the missiles to the presidency, to the president. Look, the president will have, the problem we have in this state are caused by the president. It's the fault of the federal government. So the chairman is saying, let's look inwards. Do you agree with it?
Sure, very well. I think I have a true light for this time around, and it's worrisome. Why is it worrisome? Is because if they are not federating units, the only responsible part of the government would be when we used to have a Republican government, when you have a ceremonial head. It's different, but this case is a federal system. And in this federating unit is where you have three layers, from the federal to the state, from the state to the local government, and inwardly to the wards, which are in the grassroots and the tier part of the government. By implications, why is it worrisome? Because there were drastic measures taken at the beginning of this. The president called it baby step of hardship, and which was so incurred by a lot of Nigerians, like the issue of taking the subsidy and others. As much as this were done, the output of it, or the input of what the output was, becomes in the allocations tripling, not doubling, tripling the usual state allocations on monthly basis. But what we have there is more worrying, it's because most of the governors are underperforming. And before the attention, everybody makes it look like the president is supposed to be the governor of every state. Despite the allocations that they receive, some are performing, some are underperforming, some are performing averagely. But what is of importance and what the party chairman is saying, as with every register, as with every realistic chieftain will agree with him that the governors should talk to the book. They should talk to the record. They should talk to the amount given. What was used for the capital, the running cost, what is used to sustain the state, what have they done with the allocations? it's of importance because the last time I was saying about the debt indexes of this country, some are even incurred directly to some state governments. It will interest you as much as the part signed with the president, but they go with the states that are to be beneficial to the system. All of those things are things that Nigeria care less to discuss about, and there are things that we always hammer around because there are things where we are at the moment, where we seek to know what is it that you are doing with your faith. Is it what you're using to better the life of people, or is it what you're doing to just assure your election process, or is it what are you working as per what you're giving? These are questions that the national chairman is saying, and we concur to him because it will be very unfair to the president after doing the due diligence for state to have a trickle down effect so that every state can have a development as per what you have received. Then every local government, every state will now redundantly act like they don't care. Having states, local government that are less efficient, less productive, and counterproductive to an extent. Sometimes some local governments are not even survive their salaries. Some pay part-time up to that. And that in justification to this are part of the reasons why at the time we were thinking that federating unit would have been sending if the autonomous was unanimously agreed with the government. But because they know that they're going to look for it or powers to hold on to the local government in determination of what they really want to do politically, they have made it look like, okay, local government and the local government, commissioner of local government in the state are more like the champions and their accountant general. These are the two most powerful commissioners. The other commissioner is just complementary to them because they decide who they want to empower and who they don't want to empower. But this is a national project. It has to do with whatever that the output is the resultant of what Nigeria outlook will be generally in the governance. And this lack of it is the reason why the consign is part of the reason why the national chairman is saying, as much as we are getting almost 70 to 80% of the total number of governors, we're not totally celebrating because not all of them have given the party its representation or the party it was. And there's no time that they have even skipped a local state and say because they're not APC and it doesn't have that bulk of the same allocation. Some of the states had no reasons not to join or identify with the party of the day because of not because they want to, but because it has done everything that they deserve. But have they in all return to replicate the same thing to the local or the states that they really represented? You have identified with somebody who is giving you allocation. Have the state identified that the allocations that they are giving you is due? Because most of their decamping issues, you see, whenever they are having the program of decamping, why they are decamping, they tell you it's because the federal government is doing all that they want. Are they doing the same that all that the state is asking of them?
Okay, now let's walk us through or give us some insight about this subsidy thing. At the point government feels, okay, it's like it has to assist this governor. So can we get some insight into some of it?
Yeah, even when the government started, there were lots of interventions, subventions, things that came. It was, if you said the highlighted thing was part of the reason why we have presidential task force on CNGs and all that was coming as a substitute for the issue of dependence on this highlighted fuel subsidy. So the states were given adequate vehicles to service all of this so that the weight of dependence on only petrol will be taken off their citizens. Is that the case? How many states are compliant with the CNG? Very few. Aside that,
and every state received it.
Yeah, every state received that. There were food tantrums that came as a result of because of the hardship that some people food were sent to states. How many states have actually distributed them to people that were supposed to be beneficial? All these things are things that Nigerians look down and feel like the government is mindless about the common man. But meanwhile, the states have received from the federal coffers on how to make this thing lesser. It's not like it is not going to have an impact, but let it be less impactful before they get to stabilize in the system, and the system of the state could sustain. But yet, we have cases that states have never felt it. So some states without telling you, the only time they see is when they doing the branding of the programming, and after the program, that's all. You don't see the CNG buses in most states.
A member of your party, Adams Oshimole, senator, Labour leader, former governor, once said once you cross over to APC, your sins will be forgiven. Is that what is causing governors to cross over?
I wouldn't. He was once a chairman as such, and he was one a labor leader as such, and it's not about saying it cheaply. Accountability is the reason why Nigeria, if you're not hold accountable, is the reason why you will still give back to lots of undeserving politicians. When I said undeserving, I'm unapologetically saying to any person that knows that what gives him power, from what councillors to what to chairman, local government, to state house of assembly, to national assembly, to senators, you will never employ, you will never anything without any person's common man vote. If you forget the fact that despite that, you take an out of office order allegiance with people keying in the sun to make sure that you come. And today you become, and you feel like you're a small lord. Trust me, your 3-1 duration will change in office. And you shall go back to the same people, because for politics, it's unlike an appointment that you get from the federal service or federal government directly. It is a part to sign with a common man queuing and believing and give you the power and mandate to do or to lead. It's what you define after it. Then you come and satisfactorily say whether your sins are forgiven. How conscious are you that you know that people lay in the sun? I don't want to be spiritual, but I know in spiritual books there's none that have given you power that when people give you the mandate of leadership, you shouldn't sleep when you know there's a hungry man in your territory. But who cares? They don't care. They ignore things that are not supposed to be, overshadowing your thinking on the real process. If your process is to be thinking on what the government is doing, and they throw you problem of security, you can't even go to the farm. So how do you start thinking? You're thinking, instead of thinking of what the government or the state will do, you start thinking of whether your security is guaranteed. Sometimes it looks like as if it's mastermind.
Now, if you look at what we also call the Governors Forum, you have the entire governors in Nigeria, you have the progressives, you have the PDP, all sorts of. Now, constantly you see them meeting in Abuja at the expense of tackling some issues back home. Are they really getting it right when we're talking about peer review mechanism? If, for example, Lagos State is making it fine when it comes to transportation, what can Anambra learn from Lagos? Or maybe Sokoto is getting it in terms of agriculture. What can the man from Cross Rivers, again, Governor Oti, what can he gain from Sokoto by way of peer review? But you don't see that constantly. They have become...
unfortunately, when we're doing national development plans that were never sustained, even from the military administration, there's never been a successful national development plan that runs from one government to the other. That's upside. When you're having national geopolitical zones, why don't you have the economic zone that interacts on economic basis, where perspective of somebody who is specialized in Abak and Pika hide and fight from Kano to go and do. You have a geoconnect economically, not politically. So you're zonally recorded. You relate South will now relating to North, East on or Northwest on your economic perspective. Nobody even thought it. And when you sit down, you said there are people that actually synchronize developmental thread. How do you do those things? They are not rocket science. There are things that you do in detailing, things you do with practical positions, things that you want to do to achieve results. When you leave this thing blatantly and everybody is enjoying the furrows of the borders of each other, in order to strike themselves into the security territorial guide to each other's friends, thinking that if you let the porous border between Nasarawa and Abuja, kidnappers and bandits will occupy the space. And that is the case that is happening. All of the bushes that are between the states, instead of being booms for economic development, they have become ground for breeding nuisance and things that are not developmental conscious to us. So when you're doing all of these things, before the Ministry of National Development Plan or the Ministry of Planning and Economic Planning, I think they're doing less of economic strategic plan of what they really want to achieve with the relation of interconnectivities of states. And they should do. Even when the Sweden is trying to do all that it should do, it doesn't have a realistic striking balance of what this state needs from this state in order to do economic well and what this state needs to do. And that will, in a way, lesser any enmity because, there's a symbiosis of what you need from each other's states. So all of these things are things that they should be put on table. There are lots of intelligent people in the gathering around the president, but there are things that they need to be reawakened because the president, as much as he has ministers and all that, they need analysis from people that are outsiders because even the system, maybe sometimes it looks like you have little power to express what are technically needed of you to have a development as well, cut across to have a trickle down effect to the poor place. And that's the new hope that was so glamorous for will be rekindled in the minds of the common Nigerian.
So this issue of some Nigerians believe governors are lots to themselves. They are so powerful, and if they can reject Supreme Court judgments, and when it comes to appointments of even ministers, they still have to play some roles. So are they too powerful?
Yeah, they are because they are the number one security officers of their state and they get the state and they command the political will and powers of the state. It has been so powerful that they have so enjoyed it. And now that you said every local government should be dependent, if every local government should be independent, it means they are not powerful anymore. You cannot determine who becomes the chairman. If they cannot determine who becomes the chairman, they cannot determine who becomes the House of Assembly. So also chairman will now be boastful. And because you're going to get money directly from the allocation from the federation account, you will dare not mess yourself up in trying to align with any governor in order to be accountable for what you receive directly from the central corporate. That's simply what the economy means and nothing else. Allow development, get to the local government. Allow chairman, answers their name, chairman, by taking those money. Instead of you collecting, then you focus on the larger states still. Then let them focus on the third tier of the government. Then the common man will laugh and feel it. So it says of the genuinity of this administration right from onset that it wants to hit the local government. But the governors have stood between development of what the president wants to do to the local government and their local government. So they should answer questions, not just to their developmental and what they are not doing. What is it with the local government if they become independent? Do they have anything to lose? Are the priority not the state to have a growth accordingly to states, to the local government? If these are their priorities, then why are they standing in between? Why has signed it to law? It has never seen the light. The Supreme Court have passed it. Does that mean, and judiciary should answer, what does it mean if the judiciary, the Supreme Court can take a judgment and yet the judgment isn't made straight till date? What is happening? Does it have a large piece in the presentation of what the judgment looks like?
Local governments have been pocketed, so to speak.
Yeah, sure, very well, like I said.
And no wonder former President Obasanjo, to ask the last question, once described the local government, the third tier of government, as a sharing center. When you see staff, salary is about being paid. And sometimes the budget is also not even in the local government secretariat. It's prepared at the state level. How far that is true is a different thing. Also, do you agree with him that local government, they are just sharing centers? You see them when salaries are about to be paid. Staff, members of staff.
I have said this thing that Somebody asked me, why do we keep why don't we have a system? I said, say so. I said, in developed countries, you have system that is directly impactful. When you do a man-hour rate, it definitely means you're going to impact on something that you're going to do in an hour. Have you asked yourself the encouragement, the input and the output of the local government administrators, not from the cleaner, from the lower class, which is level 1, grade 1, or level 2, grade 2, starting from all the levels, to a director in the local government administration, or even in the state government, even in some federal parastatals. How many have impactfully have a masterpiece of what they have contributed directly to the national growth of this country as a resource person, as someone who is a system, feeding the system with the work? I'm technical, maybe because I'm a town planner. I believe at the end of a design, if I bring a design and I don't have an impact that I presented in the design is not effective. And if I have a design impact, it means I own my job. As the minister of so, what do you take that, or that in audacity you said I was proud, then I was the minister of so. If they said they are and they are timely durational, you that you are employed from level 8 officer till you become a director, till you become a permanent secretary, what have you done specially to make your contribution that today you're proud that I'm in the system, that I feel like I am urging for minimal payment? What have I done differently to the growth of the national development? Nothing. To an extent, I would say nothing. To a particular extent, I would say average. But they are not. Collectively, what have they been doing differently? The five are not contributing. Even the works ministry that is supposed to be on infrastructural building, you see failed projects in this country and the license and okay. Who is to be blamed for such negligence? These are kind of things that you talk, and sometimes in the hopeful of the Nigeria that you want, everybody has lost hope. And that's when the president came and said, we want a renewed hope. And this renewed hope, how do we achieve it? Even in the strategy, you see lots of frustration, how he is directly frustrated in the process of doing this. And who are doing it? Part of them are governors. They are, and they are so aware of it. Without sentiment, they know what they are doing, and they know how they are doing it. Possibly because he will need their vote, he need them to be in control. So he's managing their lapses. But there will come to time, I swear, it will come to time in Nigeria, he will ask them, give account to what I have done. We believe and hope for Tinubu, for the reason why President Tinubu is not totally celebrated is because he is unique in his way, and he's doing what he's doing. And most Nigerians are not happy. Yes, they might not be because it's not the usual way. But there are people that will be accountable. I'm checking at 2028, after a year after he's become. Trust me, there will be lots of litigations, and it will be on what have you done with the national funds that have come to a state. Why development is retarded. At that time, you could forcefully say, this autonomy it's deliberate. It must happen. Let it happen. Let the man see light in his locality. Let there not just be pocketed funds in the so-called joint account that the commissioner of local governments in states are enjoying, and are making it look like they're demilots. They are the ones in charge of local government and chieftaincy affairs. They are the super commissioners in states. Other commissioners are even camouflaged in states. Sorry to say this, but they know that they're not happy with themselves, even as commissioners. What do they develop to the national growth of their states? Nothing. The commissioner will stay and tell you he's handicapped. Must you take an advisor that you can't advise?
It is here that we just have to put a pause, rest a while for another time of the program, and we're talking about democracy in action. Meanwhile, we also went into the streets to know what Nigerians have to say, as the chairman, national chairman of the APC, Nantawe Yilwatra, is saying, hold your governors accountable. So what are the Nigerians saying? Well, we are getting that immediately as we sign out. And I want to thank you Honorable Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed, for coming to our program.
Thank you very much for having me.
My name is Ben Shaman, like he has said. I want to thank you for always being around. Thank you, as we say, proudly Nigerian.
Nigerian.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.